Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horrific Chats. In this segment, we speak to independent creators of horror. Tonight, we're joined by Dale Gibson, a writer and aficionado of the paranormal. Hi, Dale. Good to see you.
Hi. Good to see
With
you
a,
too. How you doing?
with a couple of technical difficulties.
Just like.
Technology, man,
Could have been worse.
Honestly, it's a blessing and a curse.
Oh, it is. Yeah, but we do need it, so, you know.
Yeah, no, I tell you, all week I've had broadband problems. They've been cutting me off at 9 p.m. right through the next morning. I got on them last night, finally, after a week of this, and given off, and they're still trying to fix it and repair it. So it's, that's completely out of my hands.
Oh, no.
I have no idea. They're just being numpties. It seems to be the larger the company, the stupider they get. And they spend more time doing everything except actually provide the product.
You've got to watch Social Dilemma then.
Yeah, that's as a company. I tell you what, let's discuss the social ills of the world, but not actually work on our product. Yeah, that's always the best best thing to take. Oh man,
yeah.
No, technology is so much. It is a blessing and curse. It's the most frustrating thing on the planet, especially this whole live streaming thing.
I'm not very good at that technology. I have to have my husband do everything for me, basically.
Here, at least you have him to help out. Great, or else, it's
otherwise
good to have someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we got our first guest.
I'm just having a look. Oh, nice. Hello, that's my twin sister.
We've got people saying hello already. That's a good start. So we're obviously going out and people are seeing us.
Excellent.
So welcome to the live stream. This is your first time doing this, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yes, you've been trying to get me on here for a while now.
Yeah, and you're like, no. I'm like, nah, only no for now. We'll get there. It's only at the end. It's just to have a conversation. It just happens to be people join in. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah.
So, just a little bit about you. You're a writer. You've been doing this for a while. What made you start? What made you decide you wanted to start telling stories?
Well, I just woke up one day and I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and then it was just I just started writing a story called One Sister, and it was just for therapy, basically, just to get, I don't know, I just felt like writing because I read a lot. I read and read, so I was just like, I've always actually had quite a passion for writing since I was a little kid, and yeah, so I wrote this book, One Dead Sister, and I just kept it on the computer and I didn't do anything about it. And then my husband actually read it overnight and he didn't tell me. And then he came in the morning and was just like, "Oh my God, you got to get this looked at. It's beautiful." It's it just gave me courage. And I looked at it and I thought, okay, so, and he really liked it. I just had courage to take a better look at it and think about, writing is not just a tool for therapy, but maybe share it. And so I did two creative writing courses. So over 2019 and 2020. So I did level 5, level 7 creative writing courses. So it was really good. They taught us self-editing as well, which is just another part of writing that I hadn't really thought about. I was quite naive.
The most fun bit, anybody will tell you.
Write a book.
Everything's so much fun. Everyone just loves that part.
Yeah. Unless you're revising something like 10 times. But other than that, I just, so it was my husband that prompted me. He was blown away by my story. And I just from there and started looking around for courses, and I actually sneakily sent out my first shitty draft to some publishers who sent it back going, "It is crap editing, absolutely terrible. The good, but the editing is crap. So I thought I'd jump online and have a look at some courses. And yeah, so 2 years of study, just to learn the ins and outs of it. And that was awesome. That was really awesome. I really needed that. So it propelled me into this direction of writing short stories, which is something I'd never thought of doing before, writing short stories. And it's actually really hard to write short stories, to put everything into one, 3,000 words or whatever. I found it quite hard. So I spent the whole of last year writing stories and sending them into places and having them published online. So hence where we are now with you, reading out my stories online, which is like absolutely amazing. Hearing somebody else read my stories and bringing the words to life. Yeah, so
there is something about having it being brought to life. Cameron's done it with some of my stories, and there is something about having somebody read it out and just taking it to the next level. It makes it more real, doesn't it, rather than something just rattling about in your head. Which is kind of the whole point of this podcast. People surprise themselves. We get a lot of first-time writers as well who've never done it before. Just put a story, next thing you know. Well, that's the whole point of the podcast, is just to get. My belief is there's so many barriers out there, and I just mean people in general. I'm not into this whole social justice nonsense, and using excuses. There's just people in general gatekeep the band together. That can be nasty. That's just generally people. They're not pleasant things to be around. I try to avoid it as much as possible. So any way you can find to get around that. And then when there's people got a vested interest, like large companies, they don't want you stepping on their territory. If they're going to lose, any bit of profit, or they're going to see their bottom line drop down, they're going to go after you, or they're going to find a way to keep you out. So any way we can find is independent creators to give people a chance, and support each other, because no one else is going to, it's the best way. And you even said yourself, you've had support initially. If it wasn't for that support, would you even be here now?
No, I wouldn't be. No. So when I was studying stuff like that, my husband was looking after children and doing all that sort of stuff. If I didn't have support, I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't have even thought about sending anything into writing competitions or podcast or anything like that. That was just wasn't even the plan. No.
Yeah, there's been two minds about writing courses. I've seen some of this online. I haven't really talked to anybody that's actually decided to go on writing courses. What changed for you? What perspectives did you have from them? It wasn't a question I was planning to ask here. That's why I'm kind of muddling my head. But I hear the whole debate online about they're a scam, they're another form of gatekeeping, and it's another way to put people down. So you're not traditionally taught, or you haven't been to a script writing course, so how dare you write? And then other people say it's a fantastic tool. So you've done it. How did you find the experience? What was it that you got from the course that you wouldn't have had trying on your own?
Wow, it's the modules like script writing, self-editing. Those courses aren't free, so yourself editing.
Some come with a pretty hefty price bill, and not always from reputable sources. You have to be careful on that. I always say to people, before you put your card out there, or put your hand in your pocket, be careful what you're buying.
Yeah, exactly. So, I went to a polytechnic, which is like a university, basically, to get to do those courses. And I think what I got out of it was things like self-editing, poetry, because I've got poetry in some of my horrors. Just especially the self-editing. Also, the script writing was quite interesting to see how they turn your stories into a script, for a movie or a script, whatever. So that was another thing that I started thinking about was you know, if your book is to be published, and somebody was to grab it, say, like, and turn it into a film, you get to see how they do it, and what it looks like, and you really get detailed into all the descriptive stuff, like the environment and your five senses, and, you know, all that stuff you need for writing. In general, writing a story is all encompassed in all those little things like self-editing and poetry and writing for children. Funnily enough, writing for children was the one I didn't like doing, but I did it. I'd have to say I'm not very good at writing. So I was the only one doing horror in the group. So yeah, that was all right. Everyone else was kind of doing memoirs, YA, fantasy, sci-fi, which is really cool. Just seeing the different types of stories being produced. They were wonderful, actually, and some comedy and stuff like that. But I didn't do it for the credits. I didn't do it for the qualifications. I did it for the learning, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it somewhere reputable where I get some sort of certificate at the end of it, I guess. Like, I know there are some online courses there that are a bit dodgy. Some of them aren't. They're not qualifications that you can actually use here in New Zealand anyway. So, yeah. So, and we've got a pretty good university system over here. So, yeah. And I got to meet like-minded individuals who love to write. And,
so what was the reaction? Because I was it last year? I was in like an entrepreneurial course, and when they find out that you're a writer of horror or you're into horror, the reaction is unreal, isn't it? Like, what is it? People have this prejudice against horror creators.
Oh, I have to say it was hilarious. Their faces dropped, and they were just looking at me like, okay, that's really interesting. Yeah. The tutor was really good, actually, about it. She helped a lot, because I had a lot more barriers to get over than, say, somebody writing a memoir or somebody writing for young adults. There's a lot more stuff like censorship, then getting into things like ethics, you know, as in the gore and the horror and the, you know, things like that. Is it's, I guess it was a bit of prejudice about it all. I felt I have to say I felt a little bit embarrassed. I don't know why.
It's weird. No, but something I want to delve into, because I've been trying to unpack this with a lot of my guests and people I work with. This need that horror creators feel to have to apologize for their craft. It absolutely astounds me that people, now I'm a gobshite, so I don't care. I'm just bullheaded, and I'm like, I am what I am. I don't care. Stuff you don't like it, do one. But not everybody's like that. Some people actually like to get on with other people, where if I don't respect people, that's it. I just don't give a toss. But there seems to be this need in horror to apologize for enjoying the craft and enjoying that genre. And I just find it very strange. There's people out there produce absolute drivel, like romantic novels. Like, to me, that's just, you know, you see stuff in the mainstream like that whole 50 Shades of Grey nonsense, you know, and that's, everyone's gushing over it, and it's absolute pants. Yet, I've just been, I'm preparing, I'm doing a live stream tomorrow, and we're talking about The Witch, and I've been watching all the interviews and stuff behind it, and the amount of detail and craft that goes into making a horror movie, above and beyond. Now, obviously, you've got your slashers, you've got your fun horror, but when you're talking about a gripping horror that makes people leave the theater, close the pages feeling a bit unnerved, it takes a lot of work. You have to really understand what makes people tick. And I don't think there's enough credit given to that. So did you find that reaction to be that way, that people just don't understand the horror genre or just associate it with like goofy slasher movies?
I think so. Yeah, you got it in a nutshell there with the horror, with the hack and slash and the slasher movies and you're serial killer and you like the macabre and that sort of you're a weird, because people don't like to talk about things like that, do they? They don't want to talk about ghosts and they don't want to talk about poltergeists and they don't want to talk about demons. Oh no, don't talk to me about that. I mean, I had actually a hard time anyone who was going to do workshopping on my story. Nobody wanted to read it. They were too scared, so made you do it.
I was part of this online course and I had to turn my camera off because somebody was getting unnerved by my background. I'm like, really? That's not like I have like dead bodies hanging, and dripping blood. I'm not, calm yourself down. And I wasn't even, and you're just like, but then I go the other way. I just start winding people up. I'm like, okay, if that's where you are, I'm going to crank it up to 11 and I'm just going to push your buttons because you had all these people, and normies annoy me because all they do is whine. They all introduce themselves and everything's always what's wrong with them, how their life's so terrible. And it's supposed to be like creators putting something out. You need to have a positive mindset. This whole tortured artist thing is nonsense, in my opinion. I mean, you can use art to get rid of, to be a catharsis, to deal with pain. And horror I think horror is so genuine because you do put the mirror up to yourself and the humanity and the human condition and the other realm. You explore the possibilities. It's the deepest form of exploration. Maybe that's what frightens people, but normies they've got this whole pessimistic, oh, woe was me. And I remember sitting in by the fifth, the whole icebreaker introductions, and I was like 6 or 7 person, and I just heard 6 or 7, oh, woe was me, I've got this, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Jesus, and I'm the macabre one, and I'm sitting here going, I actually love life. That's why I love horror, because I love life, because this horror shows how precious life is and how great it is to be alive and exist and take every minute.
Doesn't it just? Absolutely.
Don't bloody get it.
I mean, there's not very many people you can have a conversation with about, the realities of life and the, dark side and the spiritual realm and all that sort of stuff. People are just like, nah, don't know. No, that's no. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah, no, don't tell me about somebody who's gone missing, true crime. That's horror in itself. People just
don't. Facebook's been really bad for clamping down on that because they said it's glorifying. But
really,
the censorship. I've had problems even with this podcast trying to share. As you know, if somebody has published work to feature it in the show, we advertise, and we'll put posts out on a daily basis and we'll put it to other platforms. And the amount of times I've got banned and had to restart my account because, oh, this is terrible, or somebody's complained about a cover pic to the book. I'm like, really? Nothing that has come across my desk, so to speak, has been that graphic or terrible that I would, question putting it out there.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of it's kind of, tame because once again, there's this, because people understand you have to exist in the world. They're clever about it. And especially if you publish on likes of Amazon or Book Depository, you have to stay within the realms of decency, which is perfectly fine. You can still play with the genre, you can still have a bit of fun. But then that leads to this whole thing of just being prejudiced against, and I hate it. People are great at sound bites now. They talk about equality, they talk about diversity, they talk about blah, blah, blah. But if they find somebody they can pick on, then they jump in. In fact, you were present in the last live stream, and Brian's story just resonated with me because I remember that at school. The cool kids were always looking for the weirdo they can pick on.
Yeah.
And these are supposedly the nice people of today, and yet they look down their nose at you. How do we combat that? how do we start pushing back against this nonsense?
It's a good question, but really, I don't really know the answer. And at the end of the day, I don't really care. I think, if you know what I mean. There's the horror genre, and we're all immersed in it. And if people don't want to know about it, they don't want to know about it. Horror's all over the place on Netflix and movies. On the news, on the I don't know. It's in their faces, and they're choosing not to look at it. I think it is. That's they would like to go maybe and watch a horror at the movies. They don't want to really get into the nitty gritty of what horror is, and the other elements. There's so many different elements to do with horror and subgenres and all sorts of things. And it's in our children's cartoons. It's in music videos. It's it's kind of everywhere. So maybe just keep people possibly like the horror genre. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, what I found is I've never been able to talk about horror with anyone except for, say, a couple of people who are actually into horror as well, but nobody else wants to talk about it. So I started up a Facebook group.
I was going to ask you about that.
I started that, and it was a year ago now, and I did that mainly just to share my favorite YouTube and Facebook channels, and then I started seeing people actually really liked the content I was sharing, because I actually I've got eclectic taste. So I've got true crime, really mysterious, strange, true paranormal investigation, all sorts of stuff on there, and they're like a family. They're some of the nicest people I've ever met. Seriously,
I've seen that 100 times now. 100 times. I've yet to meet a nasty person. Now, in the Facebook groups and online stuff, but you get trolls everywhere. You always get that out of it. But generally, face-to-face like this, interactions, touch wood, continues. Genuinely nice people who just want to share their craft.
Yeah.
And you could not say that about, look at comic books, look at the superhero genre, look at the nastiness in it, look at the fantasy genre.
Yeah.
They're tearing each other's throats out. It's so sad. That's why I'd rather people, partly, yes, you want to get your stuff out to as large an audience as possible, but I don't want to invite that nastiness in, because so far through the last 10 years and all that stuff ramping up, the horror genre has managed to stay out of it for the most part. Now, there has been a bit of like Twitter, TikTok, they're toxic platforms anyway. Quora's one, which I stay away from that. It just seems to attract those sort of people. So I don't think it matters about the genre. It's just those type of people will gravitate, and that's what they want to do. But generally, in the horror genre, people are supportive. They want to see others succeed. And we finally got past that conversation of what is horror. Like, for example, the main focus of your writing, what I've seen so far, seems to be around the paranormal. What brought you into that particular area?
Oh, well, I've been interested in it actually since I was a kid. I grew up in a haunted house, Colin. Yeah, so
was it bumps in the night? Did you have to get people in to investigate, or was it just...
No, just my parents chasing them away from me. So I was the only one that saw them. And then I got really interested around about in my teens. I started looking into spiritualism and reincarnation and ghosts, and then I had to put it aside, basically, just because I was, a working mum and so that sort of just fell by the waistline. And then it was with my writing that I actually got really involved in the community, in the paranormal community. I'd always been, because here I was writing horror, but I was a bit scared to write the horror scenes, if you know what I mean. I felt a bit like I didn't really know the ins and outs of what I was trying to write, and then I was getting a little bit scared by some of the scenes I was writing. That's a whole different story. But so I thought I'll go on YouTube and have a look, and I found some paranormal investigating teams on there, and I just started watching them, and I just felt like I'd come home. It was just like, wow, this is better than a horror movie, This is because. Do you find you get desensitized? Because I find I'm a bit desensitized.
And it's only when you encounter the normie crowd that you realize how desensitized you are, because there's things I just laugh at and everyone's like, oh, how could you possibly? That's one thing. I don't know if it's a particular group I jumped into, but the paranormal scene seems to majorly lack a sense of humor. Why is that? I remember making a joke. I was telling Karen on our last stream, but somebody said, so what would you do to ward yourself when you go into the house? What would you do to protect yourself? So me being me, I put up the invocation to Satan, from the Satanic Bible. Tap. Oh my God, I got jumped on. I mean, everyone just piled on me. How dare you? How dare you do that? You're a disgrace. You don't understand this. But I'm like, oh really? Okay, these are the people I'm dealing with. Fine. Bye. They were more frightening than any ghost. Just the almost religious fervor they had. I'm like, really?
Wow.
Like, would it be better to go in as a friend and not worry about, I mean? The best way to deal with demons is embrace them as friends rather than trap them and ward them off. Come in with a nice bottle of whiskey, and a few things. Right, guys, we're going to have a party. That'll be my outlook. But I got jumped on from a great height, and I'm just like, okay. So I've kind of steered away from the paranormal scene because they're a bit unsettling. Have you found that, or was that just me in the wrong place?
Oh no, time? Some people you just can't even begin to start a conversation about anything like that. No, it's.
Oh man.
Yeah, you've got. I think you just got to accept it yourself, and then at the end of the day, just freaking like you said, just laugh about it because they don't understand. So, and they don't need to understand. They're just we've got dark, warped sense of humours, and it's just the way it is. Somebody's got to.
I don't know. I think that's a slippery slope when you start to take yourself too seriously. I think about everything in life, and there's, especially the internet seems to, especially social media, seems to just amplify that of people's self-importance. And it's it's a very, very strange one, especially in the writing circles. Not so much in the specific horror groups. One or two have seen some drama. But in the general writing groups where you have a mix of genres, there seems to be this level of self-importance and antagonism, and it just makes the whole thing unpalatable. Have you encountered that yourself while you've been in your journey? Sorry?
No, not really. I was just thinking what you were saying there is it just because there's say in the horror authors groups and stuff like that, there's a lot of competition. So do you think they're grandizing themselves just because they have to self-promote their work because there's so many different genres and stuff on there? I mean,
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Because the likes of this, like with this podcast, it's a tool. I say at the end of the day to help give people a jump up, and trying to get people involved is like getting blood from a stone. That's why I ended up putting this in the shelf for a bit. And it's like, so on one hand, somebody's out there saying how great they are, and then like even getting people to submit stories. I remember people having to go at me saying I'm stealing authors' work. What was I doing? I'm leeching off them. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And it comes out of nowhere, and you're like, really?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's
Rude.
just it just seems to be this weird mindset of maybe something people don't understand. Now it's not as bad now because we've nearly got a few hundred videos out. We've nearly 100 of these, the weekly stories that we do. So we've got enough examples out there to show that we're not. But the fact that people automatically jump to that, and when I first started this podcast, some abuse. I got like people DMing me, like out of the blue. You're a da. I'm like, really, mate? Okay. If you don't like what I'm doing, just toddle on. But if you feel that strongly that you have to like message me personally, I just find it hilarious the way people can be. And it would put you off. That's another thing I want to. That's why I want to.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it didn't put you off. You just
I'm a gobshite. Like I said, that makes me want to go even more. It's like if I'm going to be here and if me being here annoys you, then that gives me pleasure. That's my outlook in life. If me living and breathing on this planet is causing you so much stress, then every day to me is a gift because I'll just be laughing at you while not even thinking about you. That's the way I think about haters or this whole thing of hate watching, which I find very strange. People will follow, subscribe, log on to people that absolutely despise so they can hang off every word. And I just find that very, very, very strange.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, it's just some people just need to get a fucking life, basically.
Yeah. I seen the
stop trolling.
Yeah, the groups used to. I was going to ask your experience about running a group because I have seen. Okay, you join a group. Next thing they know, the group owner is adding you as a friend. And then you're seeing all their personal stuff. They're having dramas. And then it turns out the anointed position of admin in a group seems to be like the high priest of the particular religion. And then if somebody gets demoted from admin, then they go and start another group and then they attack the group. And
I've seen that happen.
Have you seen it? Yeah. What's been your experience? Because I've just shaken my head going, what is this playground nonsense? Like that's stuff you expect to see kids, but these are grown adults. Well, supposed to be.
That's shocking. Well, basically, I just I don't let anyone share anything. I get it has to be approved. Approved posts because when I tried to do it without approving posts, I've got so much crap here. It was disgusting. So yeah, I just you've got to monitor it yourself. I don't have any moderators. I've only pre-approved probably 6 or 7 people out of 1,300. The rest have to get approval. It's been a journey. Learning the ins and outs of Facebook and how to choose. And I had a moderator, but that moderator. This is if you have a moderator. If that moderator says something in another group, and gets pulled off Facebook, put in Facebook jail, your group gets a strike.
Right. So that's.
Yeah.
Just guilty by association. It's very they've got worse.
Yes.
And it's all the platforms. Because there's a small group of people in Southern California that think they know everything. And they forget that there's the rest of the world. This is how Americans make me laugh. Some of my closest friends are Americans, but I can't help but rip their country apart because it's just so hilarious. Have you watched the Preacher series?
No.
Right.
No.
Season 4, and I wanted to, I've done a couple of reviews on it. I watched it. It's on Amazon. There's only 4 seasons that have been cancelled, right?
Cool.
However, this scene I thought you might appreciate because I was in stitches. Their plan for global domination was to kick off World War III. So what they wanted to do was to get New Zealand to invade Australia. And they had the scene at the Australian-New Zealand border.
Oh my God, I'm gonna.
I just put in the review, if you know, you know. If not, you're an idiot. Because I don't know, at this point, parody is and
border.
Get an American to try to, yeah. I'm just like, have you looked at a map of the world?
Do you know where New Zealand is?
I just lost it after that. If that had happened early on, I don't think I could have like watched the rest. But yeah, they genuinely did that, and I don't know whether it was meant to be parody or just Americans that don't know how maps work.
Oh, jeez! Let's not attack America. There might be some Americans watching.
Here, like I said, some of my closest friends are, but just sorry, you aren't getting away with that. Especially, you try to get somebody to explain the UK, and they're like, It's like, okay, mate, just don't hurt yourself. Calm down.
Oh my goodness!
But it's that sort of person that you find in social media, you know, and they're the ones that cause all the trouble.
Yes.
And
most probably.
While horror has been fantastic as a genre, it's still not immune. Yeah, so you've seen this on the groups as well, just drama.
Oh yeah. I just tend to stay away from it because I don't want any strikes on my. Like I've had no problems with my group, but some other groups I'm quite close. Some other groups that I'm really involved with. I've seen some really heated debates on there about the paranormal and about just some really nasty people. Just because I've noticed that the paranormal community are really good at sharing their experiences. They make themselves quite vulnerable, which you don't see in other things like, say, comedy or whatever else there is out there. I think like we've got a lot of experiences that got us into the paranormal in the first place. To me, horror is like it's got so many different genres, but then when you get to the paranormal, it's like a whole different light. It's just a whole different world.
Yeah, that's what I said. I found that myself, and I was wanting to unpack that with you. The whole paranormal scene, because it's I was shocked, like I said, the reaction I got, which would have been seen as a hee ta ha, taken any other way. The vitriol, and just venom towards me was unreal. And I wonder, what is it about the sort of person that gets into the paranormal? What is the common denominator?
The thing I've noticed is that a lot of people have had their own experiences with hauntings and attachments, and a lot more people are doing stupid things like playing with Ouija boards and doing all that sort of stuff. So I think, without getting too deep into it, it's like a family, I guess, because we do call each other family. And I think you really have to find the right people to talk to about paranormal. You can't just talk to your neighbor or your family member or your, even your partner might not be interested in that sort of thing. So the horror writing itself is what I was actually did a lot of research in my teenage years about it, and then I stopped, and I picked it back up about 4 years ago. And then what got me into the paranormal scene was that I needed to make sure my investigative tools that I was using and for research.
Yeah, because that's one thing that really impressed me about your writing is you really go into the technology and the meters and the devices used, and you're really descriptive. And I actually can see them in my head, if that makes sense, when I'm reading what you. and that's something that fascinates me. Is there one prescribed way to carry out a paranormal investigation or a cleansing? Or is that where the debate lies about the different methods? Is it like divination where there's different, like there could be the tarot deck or the crystal ball? Is it the same with the paranormal, or is the use of technology, is it welcomed or shunned? What are the different sort of approaches?
It's necessity, I think. If you're claiming that you're having paranormal experience,
Like, have you done this yourself? Is this something you've taken part in, as in real time?
Never.
No,
Never.
Right, so
I've been invited. I've been invited on a ghost hunt, and I was actually sick that night, so I couldn't turn up. I would be too scared. I have thought about it, and I actually, growing up with ghosts in my house, I just don't know if I could handle seeing another one. Seriously, I just, I really commend these people that go out there and do it. I really do. They come home with attachments. They face some terrible things out there in the world that we never get to see ourselves. And they do that for views, but they also do it for us. It feeds the paranormal community. You'll see groups collaborating. You'll see them go from Canada to America to collab. You've seen them come from the UK to America, or vice versa, to collaborate together. It's like a huge community. And the research side of it for me has been like freaking awesome. I've learned so much, and I've only been on YouTube now for about a year and a half. Before that, I never even touched YouTube.
Sorry, when you say you're on YouTube, is this you as research, or you don't have a channel?
As researching.
Or researching, yeah.
Yes, just researching, and just watching the investigations, learning the tools, learning the techniques. All that sort of stuff is really important when you're writing, say, the stories that I've been producing lately with investigations and things like that, and the equipment and the tools they use, and so a K2 meter maybe 5 years ago to look like that might look like something else. Now it looks like this, and you've got to kind of keep up to date. If you're writing contemporary fiction, as opposed to, say, back in the 60s or something. So it's been really, really awesome researching it and watching the teams, and learning what gives people a jump scare, or you've got to be really descriptive as well, because you want everyone to have a sense of everything around you that's going on. I prefer first person point of view. I don't know if you've realised that. Yeah, I think all the stories are sent to you first person point of view. I find it more in your face.
Their experience. Yep, that's
going to be your. I find that so much more in your face, and it's the best point of view for horror, for writing. I tried third person point of view, and it sort of just didn't have the same effect. So so I learned that by watching the paranormal investigation teams, doing their stuff, and basically on the camera, so it's been there's so much to learn, and
I always struggled with
just get there and then.
Yeah, I always struggle with first-person point of view in fiction. The reason being, when I read biographies, or used to read a lot of military books, and they're given from a first-person perspective,
yes.
I like to separate that as non-fiction, given from that, and then when it sort of melds and somebody writes a fiction story from a first-person point of view, I struggle a bit. Now, I've been able to read some, but that's always been my personal struggle with that. Enjoyment, because I've always associated first person with non-fiction and giving an account of something.
never thought of it like that. That's interesting.
Takes me, I was definitely when I first started reading it, I always struggled. Now I can do it now and can kind of separate myself, but that was always the thing.
Yeah.
I always
know
associated the first person account with a non-fiction
with the
record
non-fiction.
or
Yeah, you're right. That's
So here's the thing,
interesting.
because every horror movie ever that talks about ghosts, why are ghosts stupid? Like, ghosts are dumb. Ghosts are dumb. They can't speak. They can't spell out the message until the end of the movie. They can't get the basics of, even when they're doing a Ouija board, it's all garbled. Like, what is it about ghosts that they have to be stupid?
Oh, wow.
Because that's always the way I think. It's like, come on, spit it out. Talk to me. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I guess that's why they're so easy to write, because they're so stupid. And all demons do is scream and yell and throw things, so it's really damn easy, really.
Come on, mate. What's actually wrong with you? Let's have a sit down and talk. All right. The only one that managed to turn that in its head was The Others, if you remember, with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, Nicole Kidman. That was a game changer in the horror.
Yeah, and I don't think there's been another one attempted like it, but that was that's definitely its own thing, and it's the only one that's given me a perspective from the other side of the fence without it being which it does get a wee bit frustrating. I like the idea, antagonist comes in, maybe accidentally opens a portal, does a dumb thing, reads from the book, because you all know when you see a human skin leather bound book and written in blood, you open it up and start reading from it, because that's the smart thing to do. You know what I mean? That's and I like the idea of the demon having a purpose, or the entity. But my struggle with ghost stories is that the ghosts tend not to make very much sense and don't know actually what they want.
No, they don't, do they? No. And we have to use all these tools to get the buses to us. It's like, you have to search around and run after them and chase them, and yeah.
So do only dumb people become ghosts? Is that the rule? Or is the process of becoming a ghost that you lose your marbles? Like, I would hate it. I would hate to be like going about as an entity and just not I'd sooner go into the netherworld and just be nothing or dissipate than just hanging around. To me, it would be I would hate myself.
I know. Yeah. There's some thought out there that they're in limbo, and there's residual ghosts and hauntings, and there's intelligent hauntings, and they're poltergeists, and then if it's this way, it's a demon, and I don't know. You got me on that one.
It's just I just think that's
I
find it hilarious. But you look at any ghost story, you know what I mean? You read it, and the ghost is always and then eventually you get this is what happened to you. Okay, there you go. Go to the light. Bye bye. If you could have saved us all a couple of hours by just letting us know what the hell happened.
What's the fun in that, though? Hey, what's the fun in that? That'll be a normal movie.
I think we
want to see light dripping down the walls, and we want to see the ghost knocking on the door really loud and doing the handle and hanging upside down from the ceiling. Come on,
that's okay when they're messing with you. Like, that's why The Evil Dead's my favorite series, because the Deadites are messing with you. You know what I mean? They could easily wipe you out, but they want to have a bit of fun with it. And the same as Clive Barker's writings. You know what I mean? The demons and the ghosts and that, they're messing with you. They're having fun, and they're letting you know they're having fun.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I'm going to screw with you because I can. But generally, especially like your mainstream Hollywood ghost stories are just it's painful sometimes. You feel sorry for the ghost. Like, come on, mate, pat them in the back. Come on, you can do it. Tell us what's up with you. Who killed you?
Oh,
You
I
fell
don't know.
down the stairs. I'm sorry. How's that my fault for buying your
Yeah.
house 50 years later?
Oh,
Should have fixed that carpet. But you know what I mean?
Oh no, hilarious.
This is why I'm not liked in paranormal groups, because I'm a bit of a...
Well, you make people like it for sure. It's like, I've got to make sure my ghosts aren't dumb anymore. I'll have to make them really wicked. Oh, funny.
No, it's just
Yeah.
I just try to find amusement and everything, but it's just that I think as well with creating, it's so easy to fall into traps, isn't it? And I think a lot of us beat ourselves up, trying not to be the stereotype or fall into the pattern or plagiarize or go down that road. And not go through the same tropes, you know, and always come up with something new. But at the end of the day, the tropes are what makes it fun as well. So
yeah, absolutely. I think writing's a bit different than watching a horror. There's some really good horrors out there, but some of them fall a bit flat. You know, they don't really have. They don't really. They have all the scare factors and all that sort of stuff, but the stories fall a bit flat. You know, it's terrible. Yeah, some of them.
There are some stinkers out there. I've reviewed some of them recently. You know, and just like, oh God, what did I just watch? It's like I'm only doing it because I'm putting out an episode.
Like, oh God, I'll have to catch up on some of those. Yeah, because
talking off writing, what are the challenges you kind of face in the writing world or trying to get yourself established? You know, I mean, what's kind of things that are holding you back or you've had to push through?
Well, I've got a manuscript that I've been sending out to publishers. That it's over here in New Zealand, we're lucky because as writers we don't have to have an agent as such to send. We can actually send our manuscripts directly to a publisher, whereas over in America, a publisher, if it hasn't come from an agent, it gets picked up and chucked straight in the bin.
Is it a scale thing because of the size of the?
I think it is.
Business?
I think maybe we're a bit luckier over here, being such a small country as such. There's not really. I mean, I know a couple of really good authors who are in the horror genre, especially one. She's a Kiwi, and she's I don't know if I should say her name, but Lee Murray, and she's won 4 Bram Stoker awards, which is awesome. Yeah, for a New Zealand writer. She actually did a speech, a talk in our writing group in 2020. And her being a horror writer, she was just coming in to talk about self-publishing. We clicked straight away, obviously, being horror writers, and she's kind of taken me under her wing, which is really, really sweet. That's little New Zealand for you. And she sends me submission calls and all sorts of stuff and tells me, what's going on out there. And what was the question?
Just what are the challenges you face? You should get her to get in touch with the show. Here, I've got, like I do everybody, I've got questions, but just go where we'll go. That's the whole point of this.
I will talk to her about that. Yeah,
because I think we have a couple of Kiwis and definitely 1 or 2 Australians. Like we've from all over the place.
Yeah, no.
I never really got a poll to find out where everybody's from, but I know I've got from descriptions, not when people submit stories, but all over the world. It's that's the joy of the good side of technology, because I know we tend to focus on the negative, and the idiots. You're always going to find idiots anyway. They you just never get rid of them. But the joys of this, like we're sitting halfway across the world. You're just starting your day into Sunday. I'm finishing off my night here, But
Yes, you
we're
are.
talking like we're in the same room, and that's the beauty of this, bringing more people together.
It is. Absolutely.
But yeah, I was just talking about challenges, things that have kind of.
Yeah, I think people are looking more towards self-publishing, and I watched your talk with the crew from, Brian and
Aquastar, yeah,
Aquastar, and talking about self-promotion and self-publishing and crowdfunding, and that I found it really, really interesting. So I guess when it comes to self-publishing, there is the money side of getting self-published.
You're not,
as opposed to
unless you're pumping out, jumping in every trend, you're not going to earn much money. But to get over that hurdle, like I've self-published twice now, or 3 times. Sorry, yeah, 3 things. Just being complete and putting something out there in the world to get people's opinion is worth it.
Yeah.
In that respect.
That's right. I can see what you're saying there. So I think
but at the same time,
was one of my barriers.
I talk to a small press and the publishers, published authors. There's no wrong way or right way.
No. Yeah. Well, I'd always thought self-publishing was like a vanity thing, but I've completely changed my mind now on that. Like it'd be all good to get a book published. I've got anthology of stories now. I've
tons of material.
You
are a machine.
I know.
You have tons of material.
You're
just non-stop. That's what impresses me so much about you, and why I want to get you on here and talk to you, because you are relentless, and you're not just turning out guff. You're turning out fun, quality stories, which are actually real joy to read out as well. That's half my battle. If I'm enjoying reading the story, I find it easy, then it's easy to get it done, and then I can look at doing the embellishment stuff. That's half the battle. That's when you're on. That's what makes this thing enjoyable. Meeting people like yourself who I wouldn't have come across.
Absolutely.
So you have more than enough quality material out there. Obviously, if you can get published, you can get an agent. If you can get yourself into a house and on the bookshelves, go for it. Don't ever limit yourself. But if you're finding that a struggle, there's other options. Some authors I've spoken to as well do both. So they're actually with a publisher. They've got a contract to produce so many books in a year, but then for their side projects, they use a self-publishing formula. Once again, nothing wrong with it. That was the thing I noticed, and why I was asking about the antagonism of the groups and the gatekeeping, because I've noticed there's a lot of people, and it might be protectionist, stick their nose up and say, well, I've done it this way. If you don't do it this way, then you're not worthy. You're not an author. And I find that so horrible. And I think it's more the general writing groups. Editors can be quite snarky. I'm always worried about editors because they're trying to sell a product. They can come across as quite acerbic because they're putting people down. If you don't use an editor, particularly if you don't use me, then you're worthless, and maybe they don't realize and they're scrambled to promote themselves how they come across. But I'm bullheaded, so I'm like, I'll never use you. You know what I mean? If I don't care if I get slagged off by 100 people because of a certain post. Other people, especially people I've directly worked with, have worked with publishers as well. They've been wonderful and accommodating, and they've actually because some authors, that's why I always always make sure you ask your publisher before you put anything forward, just to make sure everything's right and there's no problems. And I've yet to meet a publisher who has turned me down or snooted. You know what I mean? There was actually a guy who had to hold back a story because he went from self-published to publisher taking on the story, and he didn't want to do it without their permission. And no problem, put it in the back burner. And sure enough, publisher's like, no problem, go ahead. Never went for it. So I want to try and break down those barriers. That's part of the reason we're having these discussions. There's no right or wrong way, and I think it's all down to people.
Yes, and what you want as well. I'm just plodding along doing what I do. I love writing short stories. I what I do is I get prompts in my email every Saturday, and I've got 6 days to come up with a new story for the prompt that I've given out. And if I like the prompt that week, I'll do it. If I don't, well then I don't. If I do, I've got 6 days to come up with 3,000 words, and those are the stories that I'm sending to you. And to some other, because they've been published online. I have the rights to them, of course, but it's really honed in my writing skills doing these short story prompts, because you've got space to write a short story, and as easy as it sounds to come up with 3,000 words, it's actually, there's a lot of detail and description, as you know, that has to go into it, and self editing yourself as well. My husband is my muse. He gets to read it. Like I might go over the same story 6 times before it's ready, and he has to listen to it 6 times or whatever. But it's gotten me into a really good routine, especially a routine, getting up in the morning and my writing way. I like to. That's what you have to do. Is you have to find your routine. You have to be committed. If you know, it's all dandy to want your books published and all that sort of stuff, but I'm not really doing that at the moment. I'm just more focused on doing the day-to-day stuff that I enjoy, instead of having a huge deadline and some some contract and all that sort of stuff. That's not really at the moment. I don't know what 5 years from now is going to look like, but at the moment I'm loving doing the podcast with you. I'm loving my group, the community I'm with. It's just my passion, and it's not a job. It's my passion that I'm lucky, I think. Like you are, you've got your niche. Yeah, I think you've got to have a passion, for whatever it is you do. And I think that's I love it. I love doing what I do.
Because everything else falls in. I think a lot of people lose sight. It's the trappings of success that they're looking for. They're looking for the adulation. Yes. They're looking for the likes and the shares. And then they forget about just carrying on with the craft or finding your passion. Like my writings went to the dogs lately, but a lot of my energy is going into this because I find it worthwhile. I enjoy doing it. I love putting together videos. This whole live streaming as well, getting better at it. Just finding the right formula. And if people enjoy it, they enjoy it. If not, at least I'm doing something worthwhile, because as I try to say to people, if you create something and put it in the world, you're not wasting your time.
No.
It is not a waste of time to put your energy into something creative, because what's the alternative? Sit on the couch and watch soap operas all day? Sit and be a consumer, and that's your entire life? Or even there's stuff I don't appreciate out there, like the silly TikTok dances and some of the stuff that goes out on Instagram. But I can't ever slag somebody off for doing it because they're doing their thing.
Yes. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So you can't put anybody down just because I'm not everybody's cup of tea, not everybody's my cup of tea, but that doesn't mean for one instance that you should stop creativity. We need more creators, not less, because we just have to look at Hollywood. We just have to look at the main publishing. You go to, I always use the barometer test of you go into an airport, you look at a bookshop at an airport, and it's the most generic, bland stuff you'll see lining the shelves. We don't want to be that.
No.
I don't want to be that. I'd rather not do anything. I'd rather, if that's going to be my life, I'd rather not be alive anymore, just to be blunt. Because
absolutely,
I don't get that mentality. And that's why I was interested to hear your take about when you meet non-horror people and they're like, I know. I'm trying to get people away from feeling the shame and just get a sense of amusement from it. Because I think if you don't ever be ashamed for what you do, and that's where this virtue signaling. You know, people that have to tell you how virtuous are usually aren't, and they're usually hiding some deep-seated shame or embarrassment about themselves, and they're imposing their issues onto you. Where if you're comfortable, enjoy who you are and what you do, nobody can stop you.
No.
You know, it's just
no. But people do like to knock you down. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
They love to see you fail, and staying in bed all day, crying and depressed. And when you're not actually doing that, it's like I don't know. I think people then it sometimes it motivates them to get off their butt. Which is good as well. They see that you're actually writing, and you're actually doing things like this, and completely in the horror scene and the paranormal world, and I guess it's just like my family have had to come to terms with it, but they're all good about it. Just getting used to it, I should say.
Well, you're not wasting your life. You know what I mean? You're doing absolutely fantastic. So just
I guess they don't know how horror is making me so happy.
Yeah, you're talking about people who have been murdered in the most horrific fashion, and haunted people, and people feeling stressed, and you're like, why are you laughing? Why are you enjoying this? It's like
I know. It's like, okay, I'm really good today. I'm gonna watch Incantation or whatever. It's like it's gonna make me, it makes me happy. But
are you talking about that Taiwanese movie?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Incantation. Did you watch it?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, don't. I did a review on it. Don't. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I did a review on it.
I already watched it yesterday. Yeah.
Honestly, if you're thinking it's going to be similar to The Sadness or like that, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah, seriously. I kind of like.
I'm excited. I'm excited, honestly.
I kind of like stories in horror, but that just went a bit. Yeah, that just went a bit like the lovey-dovey, the whatever. I think sometimes horror stay horror. It shouldn't be mixed with romance, if you know what I mean. It's just sort of gets a bit corny. I don't know, but I've completely gone off track again.
That's what we're here to do.
Yeah. No, I was just saying how
they're just talking about your family coming to terms with horror and why that.
And it makes me happy. It makes me happy. People don't understand how horror can make somebody happy, but it's everybody's got different tastes. Comedy, people love comedy. I can't stand it. I don't get the jokes. I don't understand it. They're just ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. But then I don't know. Yeah.
So, just to wrap up, then, what projects have you got in the pipeworks? Are you just continuing as is, or have you something specific in mind?
I'm thinking about just doing what I'm doing at the moment. Probably getting myself out there a bit more, like things like this, perhaps. And just working on my my manuscript, really, just revising it again and just plodding along doing that. Just just being happy and writing and
fantastic. That's to hear. Being happy is the best thing to be. You achieve that. That's many people go through their lives not even getting a glimpse of it. So that's not an unworthy goal. Well then, I just want to say thanks very much for coming on. Glad we got this to happen. Honestly, you've been one of our show's greatest supporters, and eternally grateful for you being involved and continue to be involved. It's brilliant. Hopefully excited to see what you come up with next and how it all goes.
Yeah, thank you. We honestly, thank you, Colin. We need people like you. We do. We need people like you that give our stories. So thank you.
Just got to do my bit. You know what I mean? It's fun for me to do. Produce something out there. It's just another tool. Obviously, the more people getting bored, it's not a one-shot deal, as you well know. I like people coming regularly involved with the show, get on to these things. We'll try and get this expanded a bit more as people become less shy and realize the camera isn't a terrible thing. And if an old bloke like me can do it, anybody can. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's a bit of fun at the end of the day.
I'll jump back on if there's any other authors who are wanting to jump on. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic.
More people merrier. Hey. Yeah.
All right. So we'll just wrap it up there and just say until next time, folks. Check episode description. I've got Dell's groups and pages there to have a look at. Keep up to date with their works. Make sure you subscribe to us. Keep up to date with our live streams. We're doing plenty of them. With all different segments. Keep everything to do with horror. We cover it in some shape or form. And until next time, folks, keep it creepy. Keep it horrific.
Keep it horrific.